You know how we keep hearing about the in-development sequel to Edge of Tomorrow and how it's going to blow open the concept of the time loop in movies? Yeah, they should probably scrap that. Clearly this stuff is just not great sequel material, and, well, there's evidently a reason Bill Murray never starred in Groundhog Day 2. Oh boy, this one's a bit of a clunker. I mean, it's fine, it's perfectly watchable and it's engaging enough, but if you're hoping for anything anywhere near as fun as the first movie, I'd wait for the streaming platforms to get, to be honest, though it is probably a funnier movie than the previous one. So Happy Death Day to You is a straight sequel to the first movie. It begins literally the following day and then goes backwards and forwards and sideways through the damn multiverse itself. Absolutely giving up on the whole slasher movie time loop idea along the way and settling into being something more of a sci-fi comedy instead. If you've not seen the first movie, they've got you covered. In fact, they literally narrate their own honest trailer for the first one like 10 minutes into this, complete with clips. That movie, of course, starred Jessica Rothe as Tree. She was a bitchy sorority girl who, well, kept getting murdered on her birthday, only to have to repeat the day until she found the killer. Now it's the following day, and we're almost immediately told that Ryan, the stonerish roommate who bursts in every morning at the start of the first movie's time loop, has in fact been dabbling in wormhole physics and built the machine that caused it all, even experiencing his own loop in the process. Now the machine's got all Pete Tong, and Tree finds herself sort of sent back to the first day's loop all over again. But this time, well, it's in another dimension. It tries to go a little back to the future with the idea, so much so that there's actually a sight gag to that effect that winds up working on a pretty impressive 3 levels if you stop and think about it, but in hinging so much of its core plot on the whole, fix the machine idea and kind of ditching the slasher angle, what you get is something closer to all the other time loop stories you've encountered. Like Monday, or Window of Opportunity, or 1201, or the episode of The Flash that literally aired this week. It's not bad or anything, but because it's not as fun as the first, you don't get to forgive quite as much of its lack of originality. Luckily, Jessica Rothe just as much as fun as she was the first time around. In fact, she more or less carries it through its less engaging moments. Israel Broussard's back, but gets the side part of Sidekick noticeably beefed up here, thanks to having now become just the love interest. But hey, at least Bai Vu's pretty likable as Ryan, and, well, he gets his own little nerd circle consisting of, like, Sarah Yarkin and, Pi himself, Suraj Sharma. All of the other supporting players in the first movie are all back too, and some even get to put new spins on those roles thanks to the whole multiverse angle. The problem though is that nobody was watching Happy Death Day the first time around for anything other than the goofy fun of the whole Scream does a time loop angle. So when you get rid of that and start to make it into what's effectively an R-rated sci-fi comedy, it quickly starts to go off the rails, particularly where some of the comedy is concerned. The College Dean, for example, is just the worst kind of thinly drawn cartoon, and the returning Rachel Matthews who plays the bitchy sorority girl Queen Danielle. She gets saddled with one of the most bafflingly broad, just almost Looney Tunes level performance elements you can fathom. A bit contrived. They get to have some fun with the deaths though. They go for that montage of suicides bit that Groundhog Day established as a subgenre mainstay 2.5 decades ago now, and, well, that's still enjoyable. Actually, one of the gag deaths is worth the movie by itself, if I'm honest. I laughed pretty damn hard. The actual plot stuff of this second one, though, is just too convoluted and science fiction to fit the tone that this is trying to balance. And it leans far too much on trying to be meta for far too much of its runtime, that because it's taking itself far less seriously and it ain't quite so grounded in the reality of the setting so much, it comes across as a bit silly at times. Don't get me wrong, it's not disastrous in any case, it's just got a far softer level of dark-heartedness than, we'd seen in the previous outing. Like, even without revisiting that recently, I mean, I think I saw it again when it hit home platforms like a year ago, you do still kind of feel, though, like, all the way through this, that it's just not quite as nasty and proud of its for mature audiences heritage, But Rothe, she makes Tree kind of engaging, so she just about keeps it anchored. But even then, she herself can feel a bit exaggerated in how broad she takes it all, and, well, that back and forth that comes out of it, that can leave you a bit wobbly sometimes, but still kind of enjoying it. It's 2 stars from me. This feels like its own younger brother, but I got a couple of good laughs, and as a fan of the first one, I can't absolutely hate the idea of let's do the first movie but parallel universe spin. But it's just not as smartly pointed as it'd need to be to really land. It's perfectly fine. I didn't particularly like it, I didn't particularly hate it, but I bloody loved that first one. Damn. On the other hand, holy shit, did Instant Family turn out better than you'd expected. Between the adoption comedy concept getting paired with the director of Horrible Bosses 2 and Mark Wahlberg, and, well, the actual marketing campaign for this that we start to see, I was bracing for something really forgettable at best, but what actually arrives is a pretty good flick. It's the basic story run of the concept. I mean, decently affluent middle-class couple adopt and wind up with 3 siblings of, various personality types, and all the corresponding chaos that erupts, surrounding each. Mark Wahlberg's playing it with the same sort of mid-brow tone he swung for in Ted, and, well, it works for him here too, and Rose Byrne is kind of the same, but like the Neighbours sort of level, but both are pretty effortlessly overshadowed by Isabella Moner as the lashing out but sharp underneath kind of teenage daughter. The other children work well, they kind of anchor it during the more comedy-intensive moments, and while there's a really fun, supportive cast, I'd watch an entire spin-off movie from this, focusing solely on the buddy dynamic between Octavia Spencer and Tig Notaro. They're just awesome together. It dips briefly into schmaltz here and there to keep itself decidedly more popcorn-flavoured, but when Sean Anders and John Morrison's script runs with the character arcs rather than jerkily dragging the story along, it's pretty great stuff, actually. And luckily, there's a fair amount of that in there, because, well, you're invested in the characters, well, pretty much from early on. And because of that, well, you sail through the obligatory plot mechanics with relative ease. Sean Anders as a director, well, he remains pretty workmanlike and pretty signature-free here. I mean, it's functionally built as a movie, you don't really think about it, but it gets elevated just a touch thanks to a pretty soft sense of charm. Because it's been inspired by Anders' own experience as an adoptive parent, which, by the way, if like me you didn't know that, it goes a long way toward explaining him being the man for both Daddy's Home and We're the Millers, because, well, that comedy's pretty big on blended or sort of surrogate families. And his genuine dedication to the subject, that kind of shines through, even if it is for a lower mid-level popcorn comedy, which the trailers would weirdly like to sell you on. There are some great gags in this, though, that only exist because of that first-hand insight he has. Like the adoption service being run by lovable manipulators, that I really dug, and, well, the films elevate a lot by elements like that. I laughed a lot through this, I had a pretty good time, and it's engaging enough that it can pull out a tear or two when it needs. I like the level on which it works, which sort of feels like a more grounded role models at times. Couple of tears, shed loads of laughs. I did not expect anything like this based on how broadly comic the tone of the marketing's been suggesting. This is 4 stars from me. It's a pretty successful run at a sort of 90s style family movie staple, and, well, it's pretty charming fun. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review.